Welcome to Mr. English KJ.
When you click on the link, this window will pop up. Scroll down, as you can see. This is SAT test first, module first, reading and writing. Just like the math test, if you have taken it, when you scroll down, there you will find the about section. Here you can see some links. When you click on these links, this one is the reading and writing practice test, module first, module second, module first of the math, module second of math. So when you click on it, you will find all the tests related to that module of math and reading and writing. Okay. This one is telling you about the 4 segments that will come in reading and writing module first: craft and structure, information and idea, standard English, and expression of ideas. Meaning to say, these are the 4 segments. Based on these segments, you will get all questions. And how many? 27 within 32 minutes. So you get 32 minutes and you have to solve 27 questions within the 32 minutes. Everything about the SAT. When you click on this link, you can learn basic things about the SAT exam that is important for you before taking the final exam. This is the reading and writing module first test. You know them from the math module first test, the SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. Here if you see, what's your strength? Answer all correctly before the time. What will be bad? What will be weakness for you? Skipping questions without answering, because there is no negative marking in the SAT. Okay. So when there is no negative marking, that means why not attempt all questions, right? Even though you are doing it wrong. Maybe you will select the right option and you get some marks, right? So attempt every question. What will be the opportunity? Give as many tests as you can before the final. Meaning to say, take as many tests as you can. Watch as many videos as you can. Practice as much as you can. Fred will be spending more time in earlier question, because the prior question you don't get much marks. When you click here, you will go to next page. Here you can see the first question and the time. I have divided the time based on the questions. There you will find your question. Here the main thing that is asking in the question, and then the options. Okay. If you click here, you can see your result, how many questions you have attempted correct and incorrect. When you click here, you can see some interactive details. You must know about it before taking the final exam. You will find that in the final exam as well. You want to hear the alarm sound when the time's over, you can, or you can mute it. Here you can see all the pages. You can directly move by clicking and type the page you want to go. Suppose I want to go to number 6th page, I can, and press enter. This is the page 6. Here you can see the actual question. Here you can see what is asking from the text and the option. Now here you are seeing option A, B and C. So you have to scroll down. Okay, then you can see the D. Always remember, you will have 4 options. I suggest take the test first. Pause the video if you haven't taken the test. Take the test first by yourself, then join the video. Because after taking the test, you understand few things and you understand how much you know. After watching the video, try it again. Okay, if you really want to score good marks in SAT. First, the red one, you will see question. Now you can pause the video and read it. I hope you have paused it. Now, your first step is read this. What does the word trace most nearly mean? Then your step is to skim this part and then understand this one. Here you can see the word trace. It is asking you what does trace means here based on the options. Meaning to say which option is suitable for this. Okay. When you scroll down, you can see correct answer, incorrect answer, and their explanation. All explanation you can see in details. You can read that from my website. The link is in the description. You just need to click it. The test will pop up. Everything will pop up that you are seeing on your screen right now. Okay. Let's try. Here are some words like these. These words are given to confuse you because time is essence. It is all about saving time. Don't waste your time reading these words. Just skim through them. Okay. Remember that. The story is about Foxfoot. And what Foxfoot did, guiding a group of fur traders who are traveling by canoe, suspect that they are being followed. Okay. And then no fire to build, no landing to made, no trace of their passing to be left. They ate canned meat, marmalade and all, and then they... Now, how do you solve it? Well, I have given everything. Based on 4 options, you can see all the words here. You can take a look on here. There is verb. It is telling you the word trace. What actually trace means is to find someone or something that was lost. Okay, so you are tracing it. Trace is a verb, transitive verb. If you want to learn about verb, you just need to click here. It's a link and a page will pop up and you can take a look and understand verb. Same goes for noun. If you want to learn passive voice, you can. Focus keywords. These are already written by us. Okay. Now if you see the keywords that will define your answer, we know the meaning of trace is to follow. Okay. We know the 4 options: evidence, blemish, amount and sketch. We need to find which option is the most suitable one. So let's take from the bottom. Sketch. Sketch means to make a sketch or drawing of something. Does it make sense here? No. Amount? No. Blemish? Well, blemish means to spoil something. We are not spoiling anything here, right? What we are actually doing? Well, Foxfoot realized that they are being followed. So what Foxfoot did? No fire to build. So there won't be any trace behind. Nobody knows where they are. Okay, that is what it was trying to do. No trace of their passing to be left. Right? It is giving us evidence of everything. The word it should be evidence. Okay, because to provide evidence means fact, information, or any given reason for believing that something is true or present. So Foxfoot did not leave any evidence that they were there. Okay, remember that. That's how we find the correct option, by understanding the key points. Well, it is an easy one, so we know evidence. Okay, let's do next one. Pause the video, read it, find the correct answer by yourself. Okay, here it is talking about a sculpture that in ancient time there were missing nose on sculptures. Why it was that? We need to find the word that is more suitable here. What do you think? Recognizable, fragile, common and sophisticated. Which one should it be? Let's try to understand. Focused keywords. So if you take a look here, you will understand what should we do. The focused keywords are telling us a few things. Delicate, easy to break. It is delicate, it is denoting to nose here. Okay, it is delicate, especially easy to break. Now we need to find a word that matches this description. Sophisticated. Well, I don't think so. Good knowledge, culture, fashion, no. If you want to learn about adjective, you just need to click the link and you can learn what is an adjective, what is a noun, anything. Okay. Common, easily available, low standard, no. Fragile, easily damaged and broken or harmed. Easy to break, delicate, possible. Recognizable, familiar because of having seen or experienced before. No. So we know the correct one, fragile, right? That's how we do it. Third, pause. Let's try to find it. I think you might have gone through this. Good. So it is giving us some important keywords, as you can see, focused keywords. Intense eruption of electromagnetic radiation, okay, and because interference with the telecommunication on Earth and preceding a flare temporarily exhibits increased brightness above the region. What does it mean? Let's take a look and understand from the given option. Perpetual. Perpetual is an adjective telling us continue forever, happening all the time. It might be possible, but we need to find most precise word. Okay, let's take a look on other option. Innocuous, completely harmless. It is not the right one because it is saying electromagnetic radiation interfere with telecommunication on Earth and proceeding with a flare. Everything is not harmless. They are harmful. Okay. Impending. Used to refer an event, usually something unpleasant or unwanted that is going to happen. Most likely this one is the correct, but let's take a look here. Antecedent. Someone or something existing, happening before, later, especially as the cause or origin. So we are talking about origin and cause. But here you can see there is no word that is describing the origin and cause. We need to find the most precise word, and most precise will be impending. Why? Because it is telling something unpleasant or unwanted that is going to happen soon. So anything that indicates something unpleasant is going to happen. As you can see here, the sun corona provides advanced indication that indicate us by intense eruption of electromagnetic radiation. That is one indication. Second indication is interfere with telecommunication on Earth. Third is increased brightness above the region where the flare will be fallen. So definitely it is giving us indications, and when it is giving us indication of unpleasantness, we know it is impending. Fourth, pause and understand. Now again we need to find the precise word, the most logical and precise word. Let's take a look on the keyword. Assessed without unearthing the pipe. Internal magnetic field to alter under stress. Okay. So we know based on that a team of scientists, they don't want to unearth the pipe, means pipes were already installed inside the earth underground. They don't want to unearth it. They don't want to take it out. They want to check the concentration of stress in the pipe by altering the internal magnetic field. So what they are trying to do, they don't want to take pipes out and they want to check the pipes inside the earth. Let's find out the most suitable word. Okay, hypothesize. Well, it's not possible because hypothesize means to give a possible but not yet proven explanation of something. Not yet proven explanation. We know that the engineers, they knew about it and they are sure. So no. Discounted. Obviously it is not, because cheaper than usual. No, we are not talking about any of these definition of discount. Redefine. To change the meaning of something or to make people think about something is new or different. Well, they are not changing it. They just want to reveal concentration of stress in the pipe. So they are not changing anything. Exploited. Yeah, this one is correct because obviously we don't have any options left. This is the final one. Exploited. Mostly people think that exploit means that you are wasting things, you are destroying things, but that is not the case. Okay, exploit generally means you are taking advantage of something, you are gaining, you are getting benefits, doesn't matter what is happening to others. Okay, we don't care about that. That is called exploited. Unfair for others, gain for you. Okay, for example, here you can see a woodcutter exploited the jungle. Obviously woodcutter destroyed the jungle. It is harmful for others, it is wasteful for others, unfair for others, in order to earn much money as possible. That's why the word exploited suits with the woodcut. And in this sentence also, because we are saying the engineers and the colleagues exploited the tendency of some metals, the team showed that such alteration can be measured from a distance and can reveal concentration of stress in pipe. Assessed without unearthing the pipe. So they don't need to unearth the pipe. They don't need to take pipes out of the earth. Obviously, it will spend their money and time. So they saved their money and time by using this method. Okay. Obviously, it was gain for them. Doesn't matter how unfair it is for others. They just made their own gain. That is what exploit means. Fifth, pause and understand. Okay. Again, most logical and precise word. The keywords we see here, it is telling you they were doing psychological research. They used highly unrepresentative subject pool. Now, if you don't know unrepresentative, always remember in English there are not that many. Obviously, there are tons of, but not unlimited words. What they generally do, they use suffix and prefix. They add something in front of the word or back of the word, and then they create a new word. Like here, if you take a look, you find present, present. Okay, present is the word. You know the meaning of present, right? Re means again, again present, and un means not. Okay, that's how they made it. So, highly unrepresentative subject pools necessarily to actively recruit subject from diverse background and location. Overall, the text was talking about that people were making research and they were using unrepresentative subject pools, meaning to say they were using almost same subject, and because of using same subjects, they were not able to produce sufficient result. They need diverse background. That is what it is advising here. Let's find out the most suitable word. Postulate. To suggest a theory or idea, basic principle from which further idea is formed. No, it doesn't make sense. Rationalize. Create reason, explanation, excuse for something. No. We are not making excuses, we are not making reasons. We are making reasons here, but provenly. We are sure. Okay. Ameliorate. To make bad or unpleasant situation better. To ameliorate this situation, obviously the situation was bad. Now, in order to make it good, what we need? Diverse background and location. Let's take a look on the first one. Sanction. Well, we know sanction from legal language. A sanction means formally, officially punish someone, give some permission over something. No. We get our word. Ameliorate. 6. Pause and try to understand. Okay. Now, here it is telling about the archaeological study in Spain, and they found a skeleton of a woman. That skeleton buried with valuable objects, signaling high position of power. Meaning to say, overall the text is talking about that in ancient time, well, it was general, especially in West, that people believe that men were ruling, they were the main. So they found a skeleton of a woman when they were digging ancient graves, and that skeleton had lots of valuable things. It denotes that she belonged from higher position, means she was a powerful woman. She had higher status, authority in society. That might change researchers' mindset that in Bronze Age society, men were ruling. There were women may have also held leadership role. So women were important, women were superior also in Bronze Age. Okay, that is what the text is talking about. Let's find out the suitable word. Require. Ruled by men to require that women may also know doesn't cut for it. Refute. To prove a statement, opinion, believed to be wrong or false. Were ruled by men to refute that women may have also held leadership. Obviously, it is not possible in this case because we are not saying something is wrong and false because we already found a skeleton of woman signaling high power and position. Doesn't make sense if we use refute. If you notice refute, you find that REFUS, refuse. See the similarity. In refuse, you deny something, you say no, and here you prove a statement opinion is wrong. Somewhat related to deny, right? That's how they make vocabularies. Okay, remember that. Concede. To admit often unwillingly that something exists or is true. Because we're ruled by men to concede that women may also held a leadership role. So women also held leadership role, yes, because they admitted often unwillingly, they were not willingly to accept it, but they found a proof. So obviously we use concede to allow someone to have something, meaning to say even you want to believe something, even if you do not want to believe it. Based on the proof, we can say concede is the most suitable one here. Okay. If you want to learn deeply, you can read these. Okay. Why this one is correct, why this one is incorrect. You can also learn that from the website. Whichever is suitable, whichever is helpful for you. I am explaining you. Also, you can read them. Pause and understand. Now here it is talking about US tax policy. The keywords are interstate. Interstate means when two states are connecting for something. Two or more states, okay? Difference in state taxation have almost no effect on most people's decision, while difference in employment, opportunity, housing, availability, climate are strong influence. Meaning to say they are comparing interstates and they want to know what changes people decision. Okay, so tax does not. What does? Employment opportunity, housing, and other availability. Okay, remember that. Let's take a look option wise. Irrelevant to. Something is irrelevant to, meaning to say not related to what is discussed, considered, therefore not important. Something is not related to. State taxes are irrelevant to other factors. State taxes are not related to other factors. It might be possible, but we need to find the most suitable one. Let's take a look on other options. Overshadowed. To cause someone or something to seem less important, less happy. State taxes are overshadowed by other factors. Well, it is denoting a comparison that we compared state taxes to the other things and other things overpowered state taxes. Their decisions were affected by employment opportunity and other things. Okay, so overshadowed, most likely. Representative of. We are not showing it's a representation of other factors. State taxes are representation of other factors. No, they are not representing anything about other factors. Consistent. Always behaving or happening in a similar, especially positive way. No, we don't need it. We are not saying it is behaving or happening something similar. We are showing something overpowered to other. Overshadowed makes more sense. Irrelevant does not. Okay, we found the most suitable one. 8th, pause and understand. Okay, keywords. Fails to account for several recent archaeological discoveries. Convincing his argument would need to address recent finds. Okay, meaning to say he was trying to find relationship between these two but fails. To be convincing, he needs an argument that address recent finds. Let's find the word. Unoriginal, the same as lot of other things, therefore not interested. No, we are not talking about something that is similar and not interesting or something special or something like that. No, not special. Nuanced, a quality of something that is not easy to notice but may be important. But it is clearly saying it fails, so we don't use that. Tenuous. Tenuous connection, idea, situation is weak and possibly does not exist. Well, it makes sense because that's why it fails, because it does not exist, it's weak. We are not talking about importance here. We are talking about something does not exist. Okay? Disorienting. Someone confused about where they are going. In the text, it is not telling you anything about this. Always remember, we do not add anything from our side. Whatever is given, we need to find answer based on that. Okay? We don't need to add anything from our side. 10 yes is the right one. 9th, pause and understand. Now, if you take a look, the keywords are go forth, Great reaches yet unknown, life is calling you. After reading it, well, obviously you need to understand what is asking. Then you need to quickly skim this and options also. After that, you find keywords based on the option. Well, for some people, they eliminate options one by one. For some people, they just find the right one. It's up to you which is most suitable for you. Okay. So, first option is telling us to express hope that a child will have same accomplishment as his father did. Well, it is not telling anywhere it is. Nowhere you can find it. Great reaches yet unknown, because it is saying you reach on a level yet unknown. It is unknown. It is clear you won't have same accomplishment as I did, the father did. Okay. To suggest that raising a child involves many struggles. We are not talking about raising a child here also. It's not written anywhere. To warn a child that he will face many challenges throughout life. Parent said, go forth, my son, go forward. Obviously, they are not warning the child. So, wrong. To encourage a child, obviously, they were encouraging and embrace experience life will offer. Life is calling you. Great reaches yet unknown. That's why they are key points. Okay. After knowing key points, everything will be easy. Pause and try to understand. Well, if you take a look, you will understand a lot of things. Focus keywords were tribe harvested maple syrup, trees like people, sap, little dishes, and sap. Okay. What's the question asking? It's asking which choice does describe the underlying sentence. We just need to focus on here to here. But by reading only one sentence, you think you can find the right option? No, you can never. Okay. You need to skim through all. Let's take a look on the option. It portrays range of personality traits displayed by women as they work. Well, the underlying part is talking about personality. Some were ready to yield up their lifeblood, while others were more reluctant. He gave 2 points. Range means there are multiple points, and you are giving like it's lowest, lower, middle one, higher, just like that. Okay. Obviously, in the underlying part, it is talking about personality, little bit like people. As I told you, we need to go through whole paragraph. If you notice the whole paragraph, you will see maple syrup. They were harvesting maple syrup from maple trees. And here it is also trees. They are talking about trees like people have their individual character. It is talking about trees also here. Trees character. Trees. Everywhere you will see it's talking about trees. Okay. Everywhere. So it is not talking about trees. Is it the most suitable choice? No. Wait for next option. It foregrounds the beneficial relation between human and maple tree. No, it is not talking about beneficial relationship anywhere. Okay. It demonstrates how human behavior can be influenced by natural environment. No, it is not talking about that again. It is only talking about maple tree. It elaborates on an aspect of maple tree that women evaluate. Yes, it is talking about maple tree and the women that evaluate it. Okay, the aspect of everything in the whole paragraph they were talking about that. Okay, 11th. I hope you paused and read it, right? Now the question was asking, remember we need to first go through this part. Which finding, if true, would most directly undermine Foster's hypothesis? So, keywords, as you can see, the bold ones, they are keywords. Okay. We need to find something undermine Foster's hypothesis, meaning to say whatever Foster hypothesized, whatever Foster said, claimed, we need to find something that undermines it. Undermine the authority, meaning to say not accept the authority. We are going to find an option that says opposite to it. Disbelief Foster's hypothesis. You read the paragraph, so you understood few things about the paragraph. Let me tell you. First thing, we are talking about the sea otters. While they were digging for clams, they damage roots of eelgrass. So when they destroy roots of eelgrass in Vancouver, Canada, there were otter population that is large, and yet the eelgrass meadow you can see here, are healthier than those found elsewhere. Meaning to say, comparing to other places where otter population is the largest, you can find eelgrass also in huge amount. Means they are healthy. They did some research where otters were absent, where they were reintroduced, meaning to say they just recently started living there. Okay. So they examined all places, finding that the otters they damage eelgrass roots which increases their sexual reproduction, meaning to say they start to reproduce more. Because of that, they are healthy. So they boost their genetic diversity, benefits their health overall. So technically, sea otters were helping them to grow. Okay. Now let's take a look on the options. At some sites in study, eelgrass meadows are found near otter population that are small, have only recently been reintroduced. It has been said here, reintroduced recently, right? Where they are absent. Absent or small, well, it's not similar, but still. We need to find something undermine it, totally deny the existence of Foster's hypothesis. Several sites not included in study. Okay, several sites were not included. Yeah, we can say that because Foster did not, study everywhere. There are large and well established sea otter population, but no eelgrass meadow. Well, remember one thing: whatever we do not go out of the paragraph. We do not add our own thought. Okay, there were not anything that was mentioning no eelgrass meadows. At several sites, not included in study, eelgrass health correlates negatively with length of residence, size of the otter population. Correlates. Correlate, here you can see the word relate. Co means cooperate, connectable, where two or more things connect together. As you can see, a lot of words with co. Okay, connect is the one, combine, cooperate, collaborate, company. So you can see where two or more things come together. So correlates negatively, meaning to say opposite. Clearly using the word undermine here also, right? Negatively. Meaning to say the more otters there were, eelgrass were reducing. So that is clearly undermining Foster's hypothesis, because Foster was saying the more otter, the more eelgrass. But it is clearly saying the more otter, the less eelgrass. So obviously it is undermining it. That's the correct one and most suitable, because it is taking everything from the text. It is not adding anything like this. Okay, no eelgrass meadow, or saying something incomplete, improper, a proper answer. At some site in study, health plans unrelated to eelgrass. Well, if it is unrelated, it is not related to text at all, right? So wrong. Next, take a look and pause. We are talking about F. Scott. Well, it is a common part of society. Whoever is superior, whoever is outshining, people believe that is responsible for everyone else's benefit and fortune. F. Scott was popular, Zelda was also, but F. Scott was outshining, and Zelda is wife, woman. They don't recognize her, they don't value her as her own writer. They just value her, she is wife of F. Scott. So we need to find best option based on that. Okay, overlook the many other factors that motivated F. Scott to write. Well, here it is talking about those who primarily view Zelda as an inspiration. So those means here they are talking about Zelda's fan. It is not about F. Scott. It is about Zelda here. Okay. Risk misrepresenting the full range of Zelda's contribution to literature. Yes, people misrepresenting her full ability, full potential, as you can see here. Right. Writer in her own. Don't recognize. This makes more sense. May draw inaccurate conclusion about how F. Scott and Zelda viewed each other's work. They were not viewing here each other's work. We cannot add anything by ourselves. We need to focus. We must focus everything based on text. It is not given in the text. Same thing, it is also not given in the text. B is the most suitable and the best one. Again, keywords. Social animals that care for their young, like chickens, monkey, human. Now you don't need to read that. Read meaning to say don't need to put that. Don't bother to put it in your mind. Save your time if you try to read them, because they were given to waste your time, to lose your attention. Focus on important keywords. Newborn appear to show innate attraction. Innate means, as you can see, innate is like the natural ability, the ability that you were born with, not the one you have learned. This one is the plural form of stimulus. Okay, remember that. Overall, it was saying social animals like human, chicken, monkey spend time with their children, care them, and that is why their children recognize face and face like stimuli, meaning to say something face related, like face reaction or something, they attract towards it. What they did a research using three dots and create a face. Okay, and that they used for these tortoise which live alone and do not engage in parental care. Meaning to say, these tortoises, they live alone. They don't do parental care like these social animal. Okay. What they found, that tortoise hatchling, the newborn tortoise, so they were preferring, they were getting attracted towards that image. We need to find most logical one. Okay. Face-like stimuli are likely perceived as harmless by newborns of social species that practice parental care. Okay. Threatening by newborns of solitary species. Well, threatening is a big word here. They are not threatening, plus they are saying they prefer. So obviously it is wrong. The animals who don't do parental care, their children threatened by seeing their face. Now, researchers should not assume that innate attraction to face like stimuli is necessarily adaptation related to social interaction or parental care. Obviously, they should not assume it, because we can see there are two cases. In both cases, animal attract face and face like stimuli. So this is correct. But let's see. Researchers can assume that the attraction to face-like stimuli that is seen in social species that practice parental care is learned rather than innate. No, we are not talking about this here. And we are not talking about adult stardom. So obviously we have one option, that is B. That is correct. Okay. Pause. Okay. Keywords are given here again. So totally here we are talking about that in Mexicanos, they had their own poetry, classical Nahuatl, and that was their principal language in Aztec Empire. These poems were the poetry of their society before the occupation of empire by army of Spain, meaning to say after the invasion of Spain. And then you can see the collection content predates the initial invasion, meaning to say before the invasion. You can see their art before the invasion and after the invasion also, where you can find common customs in, means the custom that common in Spain, that you can see in their writing also. Before invasion there were their original writing, after invasion the original plus Spain culture was included. Okay. Now most logical one we need to find, while its content largely predates the invasion, also contains additions made after invasions. Yes, it is telling. Let's take a look. Maybe we find something most logically comparing to this. Although those who were compiled were fluent in Nahuatl, they had limited knowledge of Spanish language. Well, it is not telling that in the text, and we cannot add anything from our side. Wrong. Before the invasion by Spain, poets of Aztec Empire borrowed from literary tradition of other societies. It is also not saying they borrowed from other societies, because it's not written there. The reference to belief custom in Spain should be attributed to coincidental. Again, it's not coincidental, because they invaded and then they spread their culture. We found the most suitable one, option A. 15. Pause and read. Okay. Now, here if you notice, there are no keywords because everything is important. What is it talking about? It's talking about some monkeys, a special species of monkey, which they gave neglected to control physical difficulties, so they gave them cognitive ability. Mean to say they gave them some challenges, they were judged based on that. Okay. And then there were other monkeys, the rest of the monkey species, a common monkey, they gave them physical demanding problems. Okay. Now in overall text you don't see anywhere they said or they proved that monkey solved it, monkey did not solve it. They did not talk about anything at all. We need to find the most logical text. Could suggest that there are difference in cognitive ability among monkeys, even though such differences may not actually exist. Well, it is saying there are differences in cognitive abilities. Obviously there are, even though such differences may not actually exist, because here you can see they did not talk about that differences at all. They just said they compare two monkeys together. What was the result? They did not mention it. Possible answer. Let's take a look on other options. Are useful for identifying tasks. Identifying tasks. Again, they did not identify any task. Lack of cognitive capacity, they did not say anything at all. So obviously wrong. Should not be taken as indicative of the cognitive ability of any monkey species other than C imitator. Again, they did not compare them that well. Reveal more about monkey's cognitive ability when solving artificial problem than solving problem encountered. No, they did not talk about it at all. So overall, they did not mention anything and they gave a vague answer. Okay, difficult. Let's learn few things about it. Now, we have given a graph. Which choice most effectively use data from the graph to complete the statement? So we need to focus on graph as well as the text. And then we need to find which option is the most suitable. Probably the most time consuming one. Let's take a look. So ratio of magnesium calcium in samples from Alboran Sea and Mauritian coast. Now here we can see magnesium and calcium ratio, and here we can see years in thousands. Okay, this is the indication of Alboran, and this is the indication of Mauritian coast. Now we know the graph. We know this chart is for Alboran, Mauritian. Now the population of coral Albertusa declined significantly around 9,000 years ago in Alboran Sea. Okay, and around 11,000 years ago near the Mauritian coast. We need to focus on 9,000 years ago in Alboran and around 11,000 in Mauritian coast. So 9,000 years ago, meaning to say somewhat here, okay, and 11,000 somewhere here. So if we see 9,000 for Alboran Sea, so it will be somewhere here. I'm not sure exactly, but somewhere here. Mauritian coast, it will be somewhere here. Now, using the ratio of magnesium to calcium, which inversely correlates. Inverse means oppositely relate with ocean oxygenation level. Meaning to say, when magnesium calcium rise, oxygenation fall. When magnesium calcium fall, oxygenation rise. Okay. So scientists and colleagues evaluated whether oxygenation played a role in declines of Albertusa. They concluded oxygenation may have been important in Alboran Sea. Okay, it may have, they are not sure, but not near the Mauritian coast. So oxygenation matters in Alboran, but not in Mauritian coast. As you can see, their whole graph is almost same. It's not that much high and low, going on a steady pace. Let's try to understand few things. Now we know rise and fall. We know the ratio gap. You can see the Alboran ratio is higher comparing to Mauritian. That means Alboran's oxygenation is always lower because you can see it's always higher comparing to this. It's always higher, right? So their oxygenation will always be lower comparing to Mauritian coast because Mauritian you can see. Clear? Let's try to attempt it. Few keywords that I gave you. The ratio that I was talking about, 0 to 20. Meaning to say, you know the time, it was 0 here and 20 here. That means 0 is our current time and it is going in past. If I say 9,000 years ago, so obviously I was choosing somewhere here and then 11,000 somewhere here. That's why I chose that. Okay. Now, 9,000 years ago, 10,000 years is older than 9,000. If I say 10,000 is older, obviously it is older, right? It is before 9,000. So if we say magnesium calcium increased, so old to new, right? You will understand why it is important. The keywords are given here. Now coral means the Albertusa declined significantly. So we know definitely Albertusa declined, and we know magnesium is here somewhere and the here in the Mauritian, right? We know oxygenation level based on that also. So we have everything. Let's try to find it out based on the options. A substantial increase in oxygenation in Alboran Sea now corresponded with the local decline in Albertusa. We know Albertusa decline, but it is saying increase in oxygenation in Alboran Sea. Well, in this time, the oxygenation doesn't increase because 9,000 is here. And if I say before 9,000, that is 10,000, right? So if you notice, in 10,000 it was here. And then in 9,000, obviously, so it rose, as you can see here, right? So when it rose, it means the oxygenation fell. Obviously, oxygenation did not increase. So it's wrong, but let's see. Opposite relation between oxygenation and Albertusa. Obviously, we know Albertusa decline. So oxygenation rise. But here, if we notice carefully, it is almost same. There is not much change. So obviously wrong. Albertusa declined in Alboran Sea during a period of substantial local decline in oxygenation. Yeah, Albertusa declined, we know. And oxygenation declined also. We know that, right? Oxygenation declined because it was a rise from 10,000 to 9,000. But Albertusa declined near, here also it declined near the Mauritian coast during a period of little local change. Obviously it was a change because you can see there is not much difference here. Magnesium and calcium rise. So that's why oxygenation fell. Okay. Oxygenation in Alboran Sea was higher before the decline of Albertusa and after the decline, whereas oxygenation near the Mauritian. Well, this is correct. Here you can understand why. Before 9,000 means 10,000, as I was explaining. Oxygenation was higher, yes. Whereas low before and after. But no, it is not low. It's almost same. So wrong. Oxygenation in Alboran Sea tended to be subsequently higher than oxygenation near the Mauritian coast during the period of study. So here it is saying overall during the period of studying, meaning to say 9,000 to 11,000, oxygenation was higher in Alboran comparing to Mauritian. Definitely not, because you can see the ratio. The magnesium and calcium ratio is always higher comparing to the Mauritian. So obviously it's higher, so oxygenation always low. Totally it is wrong. We know this one is the correct. If you did not understand, no problem. Read it, rewind it. I know you can. Pause and try to understand. Now, here it is given some keyword. Here we are finding moral goodness. And how do they find moral goodness? Actions themselves are good, irrespective of the context which they are carried out. So they don't care about how you did, they just care about the result. Okay. Individuals' action are judged accord with the individual role in society, meaning to say what is your role, what is your status in society, and then how well they contribute to the community. So if they are important person, they contribute a lot to the society, they will be judged differently comparing to a person who does not. Let's talk about what's the most logical one. Okay, so the analysis suggests that Aztec would have a dispute, they would have an argument based on that idea of morally of individuals' action can be assessed by appealing to standards of behavior. Based on their behavior, the actions themselves are good irrespective of the context, that are independent of individual social circumstances. So, how they contribute to society, their individual role matters a lot. Okay, that's why this one is correct. But let's take a look on others as well. Aztec would not have accepted the notion of that morality of an individual action can be fairly evaluated by people who do not live in the same society. Well, it is incomplete. It's not giving proper answer. If this option wasn't there, then we might consider this, but we don't need to. Actions by a member of Aztec society who contributed a great deal to their community could be judged morally good, even if those actions were inconsistent. Well, we were not talking about inconsistent behavior here. So, wrong. Different social role, morally equivalent. No. As you can see, it based on the way they contribute to society. So, it's not morally equivalent. It's always different based on the contribution. So, wrong. First one is correct. All. Now, here you can see became Secretary General of Association of South Asia, January, making that the first organization would appoint Vietnam leader. So this guy became the first leader. Okay, because these are plural, we don't need them. We are not talking about an individual here. We are talking about whole sentence. This the first time the organization would appoint a Vietnamese leader. This whole thing. Okay, it happened first time. That's why we are using this. Some we don't need to use because we are talking about the whole sentence. We are not talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, so we need to use some. This is the only answer. If there was that given, obviously we choose that also, meaning to say obviously it will be debatable, then we decide what to choose. Chances we prefer that over this. Okay, here if you notice these, if you read, you'll understand this one is a subject. I gave you a hint, this is a subject. Now you can find the answer, right? You can pause also right now. It is a subject, so we can't use any of these. Land to have used, obviously in after subject we need a verb. Okay, if you want to learn tenses, you can learn by clicking here. Okay, let's take a look downwards. Keywords, use this one. Here you can see all the present tense. Okay, they gave you three options A, B, C, that denotes that if subject is plural you use them, and this one is the only if subject is singular. Honestly, if you notice, there is songs, so it's plural, right? No, because we are saying one of these. Whenever we use one of with anything, okay, like one of my favorite songs, and in the middle we can use anything. One of my favorite heroes, okay, heroes, not hero. One of the best animals, one of the best movies. So we choose one only. So when we choose one, it's singular. So we use ensures. Okay. D. If you want to know more, obviously go to tenses. Here, pause and try to understand. Now, defying all odds, Rudolph didn't just walk, she ran fast. Everywhere you can see ran fast and then during. We need to focus on which option we use. Okay. Here, if you notice, we are using two dash. Here, one dash and nothing. Obviously, this is not the case. This one is also not the case because we don't use two dash simultaneously, one after another. Okay. Overall, you don't see that. These two are the troublesome. Comma generally means a small pause, minor pause. Now see, the full stop is telling one sentence is complete, another sentence starts. Because you can see from here, okay, that's why we don't need to connect it from the previous one because the sentence served its purpose. And we don't need to connect during. If you see here, you understand, like it is giving you explanation properly. Okay. Now, Here it's again a simple one. If you notice, plural, only one singular. Okay. The triangle representing the mountain itself. Obviously, we use singular. We don't need any plural because there is no plural here. Okay. Here you can read and understand. Okay. Now, in this one, if you notice, later is unnecessary because it is an adverb. We don't need to use it. So it's out of the option here. We are not connecting two sentences together by using an adverb. We never do that. We connect sentence only using conjunction. Okay. Out of this, we prefer this one because we are combining two sentences together. So we need a semicolon. Okay. Rather than a comma. Why? Because read this. Okay. This also. You can notice there were 3 commas, so we need a semicolon to make a bigger pause. Second thing, semicolon means when we separate two independent clauses, we use semicolon. Okay. 24. This one is difficult. Pause. Okay. What you need to do? You need to read these A, B, C, and D. Okay. From here. After reading this, come here. Now, if you notice, we are talking about Julian, scientist and entrepreneur. Here we need to fill which one is the most conventional based on the standard English. It does not mean that it is talking about whole sentence. We use this or that to talk about a whole sentence. It denotes one subject, which we don't need to. Now, in 1935, unnecessary. We don't need to start it with a time because that's the basic rule of standard English. Okay. Next, Julian 1935 synthesizes the alkaloid. Yes, this one is correct. Here we see passive and obviously we don't use and led to. No. Option C is correct. You might be in doubt. So I have a request. If I get 1000 comments asking me to teach standard English questions like these in details, I will make a video on it. 25. Now, which choice completes the text so that it confirms the convention of standard English? Focus here. You notice everything is same, right? Now, species both native and non-native is incorrect. If you read it properly, you will find a lot of things here. Let's take a look. Notice botanical gardens around the world dedicated to growing, fostering and educating. There are 3 sentences that we are combining. Means 2 sentences combining to the one. Botanical garden around the world dedicated to growing. Botanical garden around the world dedicated to fostering scientific research. Botanical garden around the world dedicated to educating the public about the plant conservation. So, when we are connecting all sentences together, we need a semicolon to create a greater pause. And that's why we use option B. 1 comma is a small pause. We need a bigger pause. Okay, that's why. 26. Pause the video. Let's talk about the options first. Well, it is saying a turtle shell appears protecting its body. The shell is often incorrectly assumed to be an exoskeleton. That being said, nevertheless, although, however, in spite of this, they used to introduce a statement that contrasts with or adds to a previous statement, meaning to say something that creates a contrast. It contradicts to the previous statement. If I say, I like to study, however, I'm not a bookworm. So I said something opposite. That's how we use however. Now, here, a turtle shell appears protecting its body, so people assume it exoskeleton. We are not contradicting it. We are adding something. We are not giving an example. For this reason, because of that consequence, that's why we use hence here. Okay? This is the most suitable one because we are giving a reason. Because of this reason, people assume it exoskeleton. Pause and try to understand. Now, in the question, if you notice, when viewed up close, because it is talking about overall that there was a painting, it looks like it was painted. But when you look closely, you realize it was quilted. Okay? Fabrics were used, stitching were there. If you want to learn about parts of speech, nouns and others, you can click the link and learn them. Okay? We need to find which one is the most suitable. If you notice, we don't need to add and after this. Unnecessary. So, no. Semicolon, no. Because we want sentence to get connected. We don't need full stop also because the stitching part is adding to the previous one. How? When viewed up close, stitching barely visible among the thousands of pieces of printed microcut fabric. There are 3 that we are combining. Means 2 sentences combining to the one. That's why we can't use full stop. We can't use semicolon. We can only use a minor pause. Okay? I hope you understood all of it. If not, you can ask your doubt in the comment or you can join my Discord at the rate Mr. English KJ. The link is in the description. See you on the next video. Stay tuned. Please subscribe to Mr. English KJ. Thank you for watching.